I woke before fear could, and I'm about to tell you the one choice that finally outran it. Steam began its small sermon long before the sun did, kettle shouldered onto the stove, metal whispering, then singing. Vermont air in the lungs felt like a promise kept. Cold, pine-tinted, full of room. Out on the porch, boards spoke in their honest creak. Mist stitched itself between the birches and the low-shouldered barn. A morning like this doesn't sell miracles. It sells ordinary. And ordinary, done daily, turns into armor. The coat by the door remembered a back more than a face. Wool against the neck, thread doubled where last winter tried to win. Hands traced the seam as if reading Grail for answers not written down. In another life, fabric was louder, shinier, a costume for staying alive in a night district that never slept. Back then it was the business, the parlor on Willow Street, work. Names that kept certain words unsaid so a person could keep breathing. The kettle lifted at the crest of its song, poured tea into a chipped mug, the maple leaf almost erased by time, then stepped into the yard where dew beaded the grass like small forgiven debts. The brook behind the house kept talking in the language of persistence. Move, don't argue. Move, don't explain. A few steps farther, and the back road opened, gravel pale as a soft vow. Fear once set the alarm, now birds do. A thrush dared the darkness to leave, it usually wins. Foot after foot, the road accepted weight without questions, each crunch a little receipt stamped present. Breath joined the rhythm. Shoulders, once taught to be smaller, remembered their true height. Left profile to the rising light, the scar carried its longitude like a quiet river. Some marks brag, this one did not. No mirror was needed to know where it lived. Years taught us simple geometry. Don't face the past head on. Don't hide from it either. Just angle truth until it fits. At the bend, last winter's casualty lay where the snow had split it, a maple with its heart shone clean. Fingers met raw grain and found nothing to lie about. Honesty in wood made a bright ache. Not every wound earns that kind of clarity. The long-ago breach came in fragments, a first night that turned into a first year. Keys that unlocked safety for some and trouble for others. A ledger's and lock's existence where being called Madam sounded like a crown but felt like a weight around the ribs. Doors meant to protect ended up deciding who got to be safe. That decision still echoes in the bones. Steam rose from the mug in small veils and drifted. Over the fence, wood smoke hinted up breakfast the road would never see. Eggs, laughter, a song mumbled for no one. Envy came and went like a fox at the hedgerow, quick, amber, gone. Belonging, it turns out, is rehearsal. Walk the same mile until the heartbeat believes it lives here. Care about the ditch that floods in spring. Notice the gate latch growing stiff before snow. A tire rut had gathered a perfect square of sky. Boots stepped around it. Too many small heavens had been muddied before. No reason to add another. Every few yards, the brook's voice shifted. Riffle, hush, riffle again, like a friend learning whether to talk or listen. The body learned too. Survival once arrived as hypervigilance, knocks at wrong hours, stairways that smelt of bleach and weather, deals whispered between brittle laughter. Out here, survival arrived as repetition that didn't hurt. Boil water, button coat, walk, breathe. The nervous system took notes. Slowly, the notes turned into a new song. Questions rode along anyway, stubborn as burrs. Could a person really live without checking the lock 5 times? What became of apologies with no address? A sentence formed against the rim of the mug and stayed there. What was wrong got repeated until the body thought it was truth. Now, repeat what is right until the body learns better. The thought required no audience. Mourning was enough. Down the slope, fern banks pretended they had invented green. A smooth rock by the water had become the rock, permanent as any pew. Sat there, cup warming the knuckles. 3 things, non-negotiable, belonged to every dawn, and naming them helped keep old habits from taking the wheel. Light arrives on schedule. Water moves downhill, whether admired or not. Breath belongs to its owner. Those, at least, remain true in a world where so much shape-shifted. A pickup rolled by, 2 fingers lifted from the wheel, the Vermont benediction. Returned the salute without ceremony. Such small exchanges count. Once, a name traveled like rumor. Here, it's the word the farm stand man uses to weigh apples. Elly. Simple. The scar is noticed, then allowed to be old news. Blessed are the places that do not demand a story before they offer a price per pound. Wind found the birches and gave them something to agree with. In that moving shade, the one choice that outran fear stood up, finally ready to be said aloud. Choose a first act that belongs only to life and do it before memory wakes. Tea, road, breath, brook, any one will do. If the past can't catch up before the first cup cools, it won't run as fast the rest of the day. That's the trick. Not a cure, not a miracle, just an earlier start than fear. Turned back as the sun gave itself to the meadow in earnest. Barn shoulders looked less tired. House corners softened out of suspicion. On the porch, boots met the mat with a gratitude that felt new each day. Inside, the mug rinsed clear, and the mirror by the sink caught a slant of left cheekbone and the old map cut across it. No need to turn fully toward the glass. No need to turn away. Alignment is an art. Set the frame until it sits true, then leave it be. On the table waited a small stack of envelopes, blank as snowfall. Letters unsent fill a drawer in this house, the kind written to girls who had to grow up fast, to women who kept ledgers when they wanted lullabies, to the friend who hummed in the dark and kept the roof from caving in. None will be mailed. A different practice serves better now. One sentence on a scrap of paper folded under the salt shaker like a talisman. Today's line wrote itself without effort. You woke before fear did. Keep walking until noon forgets its arguments. The back road, quiet witness, patient teacher, held room for second chances measured in chores. The mailbox would need mending before the first heavy snow. Firewood still asked to be stacked straighter. Ordinary work waited like a kind dog, tail slow, eye steady. Penance by maintenance, redemption by rhythm. No incense, just sawdust. There's a moment right after the kettle cools and the sky turns blue instead of silver, when the urge to check every window rises like a ghost. It can have its say. Then it can have the door. The new rule is simple. Leave the house anyway. Let the lungs be louder than the memory. So yes, fear slept in this morning and lost the race. The choice wasn't cinematic. It was kitchen small, gravel plain. Pick one living act and do it first. Every day. That's how doors from other lives stop rattling. The road outside shone. A list for later formed without strain. Mend the hinge on the pasture gate. Ask the neighbor if his sugar bush is running. Drop off soup for the widow up the hill. Imagine being the sort of person who brings soup instead of apologies. Imagine not needing to imagine. Tomorrow, the kettle gets its whole story. How steam became a gentler language than any heard in the city, and the single note that kept the roof from collapsing inside a chest. If this morning sat right with you, come back for the next one. Subscribe, ring the bell, and meet me at first light. The road will be waiting, so will a warm cup.